everyone. This is Henny Espinosa with Justice Foundation. And joining me today is David Harrison, whose organization from Southern California has really stepped up to help the community, especially children, through the help and the love of our favorite furry companions. Thank you for joining us here in Just Wish, David.
Thank you for having me. It's my pleasure.
So, David, let's talk about Paws for Success. How was it founded and what prodded its inception?
So we were started about 2.5 years ago, right before the pandemic hit. So it was perfect. You take a nonprofit that has no starting funds and then you try and fund it during the pandemic. We met with a lot of different challenges, but I think those challenges really helped us to become successful. We originally started off with just providing service dogs for veterans and kids, and that was our big focus. And during that time, we really learned a lot about service dogs and the needs of our clients, and we've adapted to really focus on looking at each individually separate and focusing on what their goals are and trying to come up with a holistic approach to helping them. Because, I always say that a service dog is like a smoke detector. If the smoke detector goes off, but you don't have the wherewithal to get out of the room, you're going to get burned. Well, it's the same thing. If we don't provide our clients with the resources and tools to take control of the situation, the service dog is just another furry friend sitting there, compounding the problem. So we've really learned that we can't just look at the top layer of the problem. So we provide resources that help them take back their life and get some more independence.
What does it take to really train a dog to become that service dog for this human, especially when that human really needs help?
So I think the biggest factor in this is trust. Everybody says that a dog loves unconditionally. Yes, to a certain point, but you need to really earn that dog's trust, and they need to feel safe and loved and respected. And that's the same thing that we have to apply with our clients. Just because we provide a service doesn't mean that they're going to open themselves up to the experience and to learn what we need to teach them just off the bat. So the same way that we need to teach them to gain respect of the dog, we have to do that with our clients too, because the only way that I can truly understand how to help them is if they're open and honest with me. It takes a lot of communication, and communication is more about learning how to communicate with the other person and what their needs are than it is about talking. So, we really focus on communication, problem solving. We work on creating a dog that's independent, that understands what they need to do, but also works with the person. So they have to really learn teamwork.
So then the first step is really, of course, to meet the client, find out what the needs are. You mentioned that you guys have helped veterans. What other clients do you guys serve?
So through working with the veterans, they're the ones that turned us on to first responders. They're the ones that said, hey, there's really a need to help first responders. It's more acceptable within the veteran community, but law enforcement and healthcare providers have the same issues and deal with PTSD just as well as veterans, but there really isn't a lot of attention and effort given to those individuals. So we started working with first responders also, and then children. We love working with kids. We have a soft spot for them. They add so much joy here, and they really push a lot of our other veterans, our law enforcement people, to give back. So a lot of people that come here, they've gotten to a point where they're so frustrated with their day-to-day situation, and then they come onto the property and they see kids that are happy, and that may be the only type of life that they know is that disability, but they're happy and their family gives 100% to them, and it gives that person, that adult that's dealing with an issue, a way to say like, hey, maybe I need to look at life just a little bit differently. And how can I be an example to somebody younger than me or somebody that was in my situation 2 days ago to give them the inspiration?
Yeah. You get in, when you're around people who are going through the same things and are trying to overcome them, and you see that there's help around, and definitely you'll be able to look within yourself and say, hey, it can get better.
That's
I mean,
right.
that's great that you provide that kind of community. I understand that you guys work with children with special needs, children in the autism spectrum.
We do, and that's more so, we don't just work with the child, we have to work with the family. And we always say, hey, we're training the dog to work with the parents, to almost be a nanny for the child. Because in the beginning, a lot of it needs to come from the parents, because we're still trying to figure out how to communicate with the child, or how to best serve the child. But it's really a collaborative effort from, the therapists get involved, our trainer gets involved, everybody on our staff, our volunteers, and the parents. And a lot of times these dogs, our parents come to us and say the dog is as much of a therapy and a release for us as it is for our child.
Wow. Yeah, of course, the family, especially the family of these children. I mean, it must take a toll. It's really, the family also needs to be given the boost and the support that they need to care for the child in their homes. And that's great that you guys provide that. Let's talk about the community that you guys have formed, especially at the ranch. Tell us a little bit about that property.
So we really are a community, and everybody looks out for each other, and everybody supports each other. We can't do it all on our own, and that's what we help people to realize very quickly, that you may have gotten to this point by yourself, but you can take a deep breath because you got people that are willing to help and hold you up from here. We have when anybody comes in, depending on what their needs are, we may have a phone roster, and you may get 10 phone calls or text messages throughout the day to make sure you're okay, to let you know that, hey, there's 10 people out there that are dependent on you to live one more day, to show up one more day, to put effort into it, that your life has value. And they may be 10 people that you just met yesterday, but we care about you. We bring the community to us because our clientele understand and know that this is a safe environment. We host a lot of community events. So one of those is called a bark bazaar. And the easiest way to think of that is almost like an outdoor market. So we bring in vendors, we invite the public to come in, and it gives our clients an opportunity to interact with the public, but on their terms, in a safe place, in a safe environment. It does two things. It lets our clients know that banner that they think that's tattooed on their forehead that says PTSD or autism or anxiety or depression, nobody sees that. You labeled yourself, and it also lets the public know that, hey, just because somebody has a disability doesn't mean that you're necessarily going to see signs of that disability or that they need to be treated any differently. And then during these bark bazaars, we have different speakers come in and talk about pet nutrition. We lead games, trying to get everybody to play around and have a good time. And that's really what it is. It's about creating awareness towards, people with disabilities, resources. It's fun.
So how big is this ranch, David? And I'm assuming that during the pandemic, some of these events were put on hold, right? But is everything back to normal in terms of holding these events? Can the public come, or is this just by invitation? How can the community basically join in the fun and all these good stuff that you're doing for the community?
So that's a great question. So just starting out right before the pandemic, we didn't shut down. A lot of our clients, especially our minors, the resources stopped because they weren't doing, schools were shut down, in-home support services were shut down, but we stayed open. So we had families that would come here 3 times a week and have a picnic at our location. We built sandboxes for the kids. We built, wading pools for the kids. This really was an environment that they could come and still grow and learn. We had Easters and we had Thanksgivings and Christmases here. We built our family around the pandemic. It just grew us closer. So now that the pandemic has kind of lightened, we are open to the public and we allow the public to come in here. We don't have as many restrictions. Before, we just kind of limit it to 1 or 2 families at a time within our close circle. But now anybody can come to any of our events, the easiest way is to look on our website at www.pawsforsuccess.org, and it's the number 4. Otherwise, follow us on social media, Instagram and Facebook. We usually have at least 1 or 2 events a month. Next month, we are starting a entrepreneur workshop, and it's geared towards veterans, business owners, and individuals with disabilities. And it's a 6-course workshop, and we've paired with over 30 local business owners to give mentorship to individuals that are trying to start a business. So, we really want to give as many resources to our community as possible.
So it's not just healing, it's allowing a person to thrive as well. So that's great. Yes. I understand, David, at some point, and you guys still do this as well, that you offer services to schools. I mean, amid all of these, gun violence that's happening, just insecurities when it comes to keeping our kids safe. What does your organization do to help with that?
So right now we're really focused on mental health and how we can help students, how we can help them express themselves, how we can start a conversation. And we do this in a couple different ways. So we just sponsored for the 2nd year in a row a mental health essay, and it was geared towards high school and college age students. And we posed a question out to them, and they basically sent in their essays to us, and we selected 2 winners and awarded 2 $500 scholarships. And for us, it's really just to get kids to start the conversation amongst themselves, because they're the ones going to help us fix this issue. And then we provide therapy dogs to the community. And one of the programs that we're really focusing on is a peer support program, where we go out to local high schools and we teach the kids to be a peer support for themselves. So we teach them how to become good and effective listeners, how to identify people that are in crisis, how to connect them with resources, and then how to implement therapy dogs within the school campus.
David, so where do these dogs come from? Do they come from shelters? If for example, I'm a family that would request for a service dog for my kid, can that service dog be brought to our home? Or do they just stay in the ranch? Like, how does the whole system or pairing happen?
So we really work hard to make sure that the dog that we select for the individual that's getting the dog is a good fit. Okay, so for example, if you've got anxiety and I put you with a dog that is super hyper, it's not going to work. The dog's going to be spinning in one corner and you're probably going to be in the other corner trying to get away from the dog. So we really match the temperaments and the drive of the dog to fit the needs of the individual. So typically we have the person volunteer for about a month, maybe a little bit more, so that we can truly understand their temperament, what they need, and also to get a better sense of their commitment too. Because a dog takes a lot of care and a lot of responsibility. But once we pair them with the dog goes home with them, and they train with us once a week at our ranch, and then the dog goes home with them. So it's continual training at home, and then they get our expert training at least once a week. Sometimes they come more, and then we're always accessible through phone or text if they need
something. And where do these dogs come from?
So some of the dogs we source from local shelters or rescues.
Nice.
And then we also have some owner surrenders. Just depends on the situation. A lot of families already go out to shelters and find a dog, and then they bring him to us and say, hey, I got this little dog, Skippy. Now I don't know what to do with it. And then we take it from there.
Wow. And I'm sure for the dogs too, having like a purpose, that's really, I'm sure they're so proud to be doing such a good job as well, Yes. So where do you see the organization, David, in terms of with all of the help coming in for you guys? How do you want to move it forward?
So we really want to expand our services for mental health. We would love to be able to be a resource in a hub, to be able to find people the resources, whether it was connecting them with low cost therapy and psychologists, or getting them service dogs, or being able to connect them with other resources in the community that could help families provide for their kids. But our main focus is really truly getting service dogs out there and therapy dogs out into the community so that they can best serve and and continue our mission out there. So,
Mhm.
and I see you got one,
I do.
a little fur baby
I
there.
wanted to show you my dog. This is Harry. I got Harry from a shelter, and I just can't imagine life without Harry. Especially during the pandemic. I think a lot of us who have just it's just a way to deal with all the hardships and challenges. Having a dog by your side, that really means something, and especially for people who really need it. That's service definitely that is so important and could be life-saving too. So we really applaud you, David, and Pause for Success for what you've done for the community, and especially for the children, for our veterans, and Mr. Jacku, and of course the Just Wish Foundation. We wanted to show your support. We wanted to send in a monetary donation to the group, and of course at some point maybe we can visit the ranch and see the amazing things that you guys are doing for the community. So thank you so much for sharing with us what you guys do, and more power to you, David, and to Pause for Success.
Thank you so much for the opportunity to talk to you, and thank you for the donation. We really appreciate it.